How's it going, guys? My name is Zach. I hope you all had a happy holiday season and a happy new year. And because it is a new year, because it is January 2025, it is time for an update. It is time for the 2025 Toy and Game Room Tour. So let's check it out. So for those of you who don't know, my wife Kendall and I, for the past 9 years or so at this point, we have been steadily building this collection together, slowly but surely over time. This is the 2025 annual update of the game room. For those of you who watched the 2024 video, if you remember, we kind of started right around here at the DVDs and video games, the actual gaming portion of the game room. We hit the games, DVDs, VHSs, kind of walked down this way and around the sweet yellow 90s couch, and then worked our way right back here to the middle. And that's the same format we're going to take this time. And before we officially get started here, you might be asking yourself, why is there a table full of what looks to be 4,862 different expansions of Pokemon cards? It's because we are on a mission in 2025. We have been sorting over the past couple of weekends. We literally spent New Year's Eve doing this. We missed the clock striking midnight because we were sitting on this floor sorting these binders. And what we're trying to do is we're creating binders for every single expansion of Pokemon cards, from base set all the way up to the current expansion, the latest expansion. So that means we're looking up every expansion we're seeing, how many cards are in that set. And if it's 159 cards and we only have 2 of those cards, we're creating a binder over here for 159 cards. We're leaving all those pages blank except for the 2 that we have. We're sticking them in there, and we're going to continue to just fill up those expansions over time as we go. We're off to a really good start. We have at least 1 card of every single expansion, so that's always good. Right now this is just sorting through all of like the doubles, triples, quadruples we've got. It's kind of hard to see down here, but all of these are boxes of bulk. Underneath these Mario bricks, all boxes of bulk that we're gonna bundle up and sell collectively in one big shot once we get all of this bulk finally filtered through and all of the cards that we need put away in binders. Obviously, we have quite a few more binders to buy, but that is our big project for 2025. So keep an eye out for a video with an update on that. So without further ado, let's get started right here with Mr. Mario. And I would just like to say shout out to my local GameStop. It pays to make friends with the wonderful staff at GameStop. Pays to be a nice person to them. If they like you and you treat them well, they will treat you well, more than likely, and they'll do awesome things like put this store display cardboard cutout of Mario on hold for you and let you have it once it's no longer being displayed. So shout out to GameStop in Cool Springs Mall in Franklin, Tennessee. Thank you so much for the generosity. As you can see here, we've got the old school Triple H foam. It's not really a foam finger, it's a foam logo symbol. I don't know, I always display it from the backside though, because unfortunately over the last 24 years, it has seen better days. I didn't take as good a care of it as I should have when I was kind of a teen and, you know, going through my phase of not really caring so much about collecting certain things. It kind of stayed up in the attic. Looks like some animals got a hold of it at some point. I need to actually go through it and try to clean it up a little bit more. But for now, I'm just glad that I still even have the thing, because I bought this at one of my very first, my second ever WWF show in April of 2001, right before Triple H actually got injured. Tore his quad and was out for, 9 months. And my third ever WWF event was actually this right here, Judgment Day 2002, at what was then called the Gaylord Entertainment Center, presented by 1-800-CALL-ATT. So it's nice to have a piece of memorabilia from those very early shows, But yeah, so moving on to the actual games. We go in order from PS1. I don't need to explain every single game here. You can see what I've got. I'll just kind of go down the line and let you check it out. I am really excited about this MK3 long box. I will show that. Been having my eye on this for a while, and it's just cool. I didn't even know they originally made MK3 for the PS1 when I was a kid and it first came out, so it was cool to see it several years later down the line. But yeah, we're going in order from PS1 to PS2, PS3, PS4. Compared to a lot of people on YouTube and in general, my actual game collection is not all that big, right? I don't have a massive collection. Like, just to zoom out for a second, this is it. And while to me this is like a decent amount of games, to many YouTubers out there, that is a tiny collection. Hardly anything at all, right? Well, the thing is, with me, I love looking at massive collections. I love watching videos of them. I think they're super entertaining. And, I'm sure it's an enjoyable thing for those who amass those huge collections. But just for me personally, like, anything that I add to this collection, I kind of I make purchases with scrutiny, right? I scrutinize every decision before I decide to add a game, because I only want to purchase games that I'm actually going to be excited to come up here and play. I want it to be games that I actually will play, right? Like, as cool as it would be to have every N64 game made. You see a lot of people collect all the N64 cartridges, complete in box. While that is awesome, and I certainly wouldn't turn it down if somebody offered it to me, the fact of the matter is, am I ever going to sit down and play all 292 or however many games there are? No. Especially some of the sports games. Like, I'm not going to place an NHL game from 1997 on the N64. It's just never going to happen. So to me, it would just kind of be occupying valuable space. And, for me, it's quality over quantity. I want every edition in here to be what I consider to be high quality. And by high quality, I mean something I enjoy, something I'm actually a fan of, something I'm going to look forward to playing. That is what my perfect ideal collection looks like for me. And that may be different for you, and that's totally fine. Collect what you like, guys. Don't just collect for the sake of, numbers, unless that's your thing, in which case, cool. As you can see here, we're done with the games and we moved on to the super impressive straight to DVD Steven Seagal collection. That is a fun pastime of the wife and I. Like to get a couple cocktails and sit around and watch awesome Steven Seagal movies. They're so horrible that they're some of the best things you'll ever watch. Highly recommend for a first date, guys. Take out a chick to a Steven Seagal movie. You'll do well every time. Moving on to the VHS wall here. The reason I collect these, this is something that I would like to complete the entire set of. All of the Dragon Ball VHSs, and I'm pretty close. I've got most of them. I'm missing a couple of sagas, but I've got a good chunk of them. And why would I do that? It's not because I'm going to sit down and watch all of the VHSs on a VCR, but this is like art to me, right? I remember being a kid and walking into Suncoast Video and seeing these box sets for sale, specifically this one. I remember always seeing the uncut Frieza Saga and wanting to buy it so bad, but as a 12-year-old or whatever, I didn't have $120 laying around to do that. So now that I'm a big grown important person with big grown important money, I can buy all the VHS tapes I want. And yeah, most of these are from childhood. Managed to keep them all throughout all the moves, all the years. The only one that's not is the Frieza Saga, because bought that with my own money, and I'm pumped about it. Right here, we move on to the DVDs, of course. The Dragon Ball Z and GT and Dragon Ball DVDs. Just want to say really quickly, guys, if you've never watched this is a super underrated anime in my opinion. First watched this in '96 when I was 7 years old. It's called Street Fighter 2V, and it's kind of like an alternate universe of Street Fighter, right? It's not really canon to any of the games or any of the other movies or anything like that. It's basically Ryu is a 17-year-old in Japan. Ken is a, I think, 16-year-old. By the way, yeah, these two guys were supposed to be 16 and 17. Talk about giving me unrealistic expectations for what I was going to look like when I was 16. Yeah. So, yeah, Ryu's in Japan. Ken sends Ryu a bunch of money, and he says, "Hey, come to America. Let's hang out together. We trained as kids. We won all the karate tournaments together and beat everybody up, but I haven't seen you in years, so come to Japan, or excuse me, come to California, and let's hang out." So Ryu flies in, their first night in town together, they hit a bar, they get into a fight with the Air Force, they beat the hell out of them, they're high-fiving, everything's great, they think they're the shit, and then Guile pulls up, and then Guile beats the shit out of both of them. And then they realize, maybe we're not so tough, and perhaps we should see what else is out there in the wide world of Street Fighters. Test our might against the globe. Let's just see how tough we really are compared to how tough we think we are. And so they set out and they travel the globe from China to Thailand to Spain, and they interact and do battle with the various characters from the game. And to me, I think I've watched this series at least 15 times straight through since I was a kid. Couldn't recommend it enough, guys. Definitely give it a watch if you got some spare time and you're a Street Fighter fan. I think you'll like it. Kendall and I have been doing thrifting over the last 4 or 5 months or so. We started eBaying. We thought it'd be fun, just kind of see if we can, do $10,000 in sales by the end of the year. And we just very narrowly hit that number, so that was really cool. But throughout our time thrifting, we've come along quite a few of these Pokemon VHS tapes. And so we've built like a little mini collection of them for $1 each. Didn't want to sell those. Definitely wanted to hang on to those because they're super cool, super collectible, super nostalgic for us. So yeah, if you guys don't already normally hit up your thrift stores, your Goodwills that still sell VHS tapes, highly recommend it. Stop in a few times a week and test your luck. I have a buddy who just got 4 Nintendo 64 consoles today with Mario Kart, Super Mario, and NFL Blitz. He just has crazy good luck like that. There are still deals out there in thrift stores. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. So yeah, bridging the gap here from one media cabinet to the next. We got the action figure wall, all Mortal Kombat, Hasbro, the Toy Island MK trilogy, all that good stuff. And you might notice here that one of these is empty. We're missing Scorpion, and that's because Scorpion is over here in this special cabinet because I got it personally signed by Chris Casamassa, the actor of the original Scorpion from the 1995 motion picture film. So super proud of this piece. Chris Casamassa is an awesome guy. If you guys don't already follow him on Instagram, highly recommend that you do. Shout out Chris Casamassa. Yeah, moving on to this side of the cabinet. This is about 90% wrestling. and mostly VHS tapes. All the original WrestleManias, pay-per-views from 99, 2000, and 01, some of the old school biographies. This was the WWE Network I grew up on right here. And my prized possession from this cabinet has to be these WCW VHS tapes. I freaking love these things. I was actually a WCW fan before I was a WWF fan. The first pay-per-view I ever ordered, thank you Mom, was Fall Brawl 99. And I even got the seat cushion to go with it that you'd send in your receipt to your local cable company and they would send you back one of these sweet seat cushions. So super nostalgic for WCW in 99, even if that is around the time that the rails were starting to come off a little bit. And I would amass these, by the way, if you didn't notice from from the sticker on the back of this one, I would just go to Blockbuster, man. I would go to Blockbuster and I would wait. I'd be like a hawk waiting for these things to go from rent to sale. As soon as they became previously viewed tapes, like this one did on August 21st of 2000, I'd swoop in and I'd buy it for $3 or $4 or whatever. So good times, man. I sure do miss Blockbuster. Moving on down here, we got some DVDs from the early 2000s. I kind of stocked up on some of these here. Most of these I've had for a long time, but I stocked up on some of them when first got word that the network was being canceled a few years ago and moved over to Peacock. I didn't know what they were going to merge over at the time, so I kind of freaked out and went on a bit of an eBay buying spree to make sure I still had access to what I consider to be my golden years of wrestling. But fortunately, all that content, as of now at least, is still available. And of course, just like some old movies from back in the day, and some Steven Seagal on VHS, because you got to have all the different Seagal platforms possible. It's mandatory. Moving on here to the Pokemon side, already kind of explained what's going on here. This at the moment is kind of sort of under construction. We're starting to get it the way we want it to look. We've got some of the original packs, some of the original trainer boxes here, some of the original starter decks here. These packs, they're open. They just have like QR code cards in there to give them some volume. We bought these in, I want to say, late 2016, early 2017. And for this lot back here of these 3 base set packs, I think we paid $250, somewhere around there, for all 3 of packs. And we opened them like idiots. But we needed that endorphin rush of just opening a base set pack one more time. And to me, it was worth it. It was worth it. This pack is sealed. This pack is open and was purchased as a Valentine's Day gift a few years ago, back in 2022, for me, from her. And what a gift to give, because we opened it and we ended up pulling a shiny Steelix, which, if I'm not mistaken, at least at the time that I pulled it, it was worth just about as much as this pack itself would have been sealed. So maybe that's not the case now, but I believe it was at the time. And even if we took a loss, you know, as I said about that stuff over there, we buy stuff because we like it, not just because of the dollar amount alone. And that was definitely well worth the opening of the packs of all of these. Don't regret it. Not going to open this one though. We already have the full base set too. We don't need to open that bad boy. Of course, got the Burger King Pokeballs, gold plated and all, with the little certificates of authenticity and everything. Got these right around the time we started getting serious about Pokemon collecting. I paid like $70 for the whole lot, which I think is a really good deal considering the condition they're in and considering that they are complete. This is a trading card of me when I was like 6 years old. I don't know why they made a card of me like this. I think it's because I couldn't play actual sports, you know, wasn't very athletic. So they were just like, oh, I feel bad for him. Let's look at him. Look at him in his X-Men Red Ranger shirt. Let's just make a card of him to make him feel good about himself. I got like 20 of these things too, so, you know, if anybody wants to sign one, you know, shoot me an offer. You know, we'll see what I can do. Throw it on eBay. Might be worth something one day. Never know. But yeah, moving on here to the Beanie Babies side. I would totally wear this shirt, by the way, like today, if I had it, like in an adult size. Totally would wear that thing. Thing kicks ass. But yes, moving on to the Beanie Babies side. Separated right down the middle by the Mr. Ronald Reagan Beanie Baby. We've got the left, which is my collection, and we've got the right, which is Kendall's collection, both from childhood, all originals, and now they are united as one, the Beanie Baby collection. So all you guys and gals out there with your $100,000 Bitcoins and cryptocurrency, this and that, meme stocks, dude, I got your ass right here. I got like 10 people's retirements sitting on my shelf in my room. That's just straight money. Yeah, going right on down the line. Got some X-Men stuff. We just recently got this from Target. Just super cool, man. X-Men 97. I'm so glad they brought that series back. And I'm glad that they're doing another season of it. That is awesome. Can't wait to tune into that. Some fine, very intricate, classy, detailed Beavis and Butthead toys here.
That sounds like it sucks.
Got some Avatar, some Laurel and Hardy, Star Wars Build-A-Bears. Special story about these Laurel and Hardy guys. A lot of you guys probably don't even know who Laurel and Hardy are, but they are an iconic comedy duo from almost damn near 100 years ago at this point. They were really big. I forgot what decade it was. It was like maybe the 30s or the 40s, maybe the 50s. But I mean, it's an old duo from way back in the day. And the reason why these hold such a special place in my heart is because I remember in 97, it sticks out to me like a sore thumb in my memory. It sticks out. I remember walking into Target with my mom and us buying these limited edition collector series Laurel and Hardy's together. And that was kind of like the start of my affinity for things that were considered to be like collector's items, right? I was like, oh yeah, me and my mom are doing this together. We're collecting action figures or dolls, collectibles together. So yeah, Laurel and Hardy, they're always going to have a special place on my heart and on this shelf for sure. If we come back around here, right beneath the Beanie Babies, what more of a seamless transition can you make from Beanie Babies and straight down to Metal Gear Solid? All the figures from the McFarlane Toys line, except for Revolver Ocelot. Gotta get him and add him right there when the time comes. But for now, super happy with this collection. Always wanted these growing up. Just recently got them. I had the Metal Gear Solid 2 toys. I have no idea what happened to them. That really bothers me because, yeah, I'm sure they got lost in a move somewhere, but I really loved the MGS2 toys. I'll get them back one day. Smash and Slam. These were my first ever wrestling figures. I loved Smash and Slam, WCW. Man, I had so much fun with these things. I remember I would use the Big Bad Beetleborgs as I would just pretend that they were like people like Perry Saturn and Dean Malenko because they didn't have toys of them at the time, and I wanted to play as like the Horsemen or Raven's Flock or whoever. So I would just make believe that my Big Bad Beetleborgs toys were those characters, and then I'd wrestle them and get them jobbed out against the NWO here, brother. Got various Triple H things here. Triple H is a huge influence on me. I actually do professional wrestling. I wrestle on the independents. And yeah, Triple H is a big influence and somebody I admire greatly in the wrestling business. So, Mr. Levesque, if you ever see this, maybe, you know, reach out. Maybe you can use some of my merchandise of yours that I have in here that is probably pretty rare on some of that WWE Hidden Treasures stuff that you guys do on A&E. So we'll get to that soon, though. Moving on, we've got the Uncanny X-Men figures. I love this Toy Biz stuff from 92. I always enjoyed going into KB Toys and kind of thumbing through and looking through like all of these characters. Same with up there, man. My first impression, the first impression I can really remember of toys would have been Power Rangers and those Mortal Kombat Hasbro figures up there. Just going into KB Toys and sifting through them in the boxes, man. The nostalgia hits hard every time I see one of those boxes. Got some Star Wars. Got some old vintage. This is mostly wrestling shirts. Something I know I've got in here is a lot of Triple H shirts. Evolution, that one's signed by Randy Orton. It's super hard to see in this light though. Old school Game Over shirt. This is kind of sad. Chris Benoit shirt. Got this the same night that I got that I Am the Game foam logo thing there. Benoit and Triple H, man, they were like my A and B top tier wrestlers. So, you know, it's a tragedy what happened, and all I can say is rest in peace to all that were involved. But yeah, this is a shirt from the promotion that I trained with. It says Cyber Slam on it. It's the United States Wrestling Organization, Real Falcon Wrestling. I was trained by wrestler by the name of LT Falk, who's the son of Tony Falk, who actually kind of helped a lot of the guys that you and I watched on TV as kids. Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels, they both wrote about old Tony Falk in his book and in their books. So he's a bit of a legendary journeyman wrestler, and I was trained by his son, which is super cool. Old school Triple H shirt. Triple H jersey, and my personal favorite piece here, original Killer Instinct shirt that came with the game for the Super Nintendo. This thing is super rare, and somehow throughout all the moves and all the decades, the only thing that's happened to it is this little hole right here, which could honestly be easily fixed. So yeah, definitely keeping that one for the long haul. Moving out here to the back wall. Power of the Force, man. I'm a 90s kid. I'm a millennial. I've already talked about going through toy stores and shifting through the cardboard boxes. And as any millennial who is a Star Wars fan would know, or should know at least, you couldn't go to any toy store, any Walmart, any Target, Kmart, Toys R Us without just seeing these things all over the place. Power of the Force was huge back in the day. And once again, just like being selective about what games I buy, just like having a collection of like 100 Beanie Babies that are not really worth very much, just like having a whole bunch of Power of the Force that objectively to a lot of people is not considered something that's valuable. Again, I stress to you guys, collect what you like. I collect this stuff because when I walk up here and I turn the lights on and I look at it, it makes me happy, takes me to a happy place, puts me in a good mood. I get to sit up here, chill, play games, and be surrounded by all the things that bring me happiness and nostalgia and so on. So I would just stress once again, when you're building your collection, Who gives a shit what the actual monetary value of it is, unless you're doing it just as an investment solely. Buy what you like, man, because I couldn't be happier with my Power of the Force collection. And my only issue is I need more room to add on more carded figures. Right now I'm working on episode 1, and we'll slowly build on that over time. Moving on to the consoles. Lots of boxes. I love console boxes. And I'm running out of room for them, but luckily there really aren't too many more boxes that I really want. I would like a Dreamcast box, and I would like a PS3 box, because I've got 1, 2, 4, 5, missing 3. So give me those boxes and I'll be happy. Just need to get creative with a way to display them. Maybe I can move some of this Power Rangers stuff around, or perhaps some of this Star Wars stuff. We'll figure it out. Moving down here to the actual consoles, we've got all the iterations of the Game Boy family, N64, GameCube, Super Nintendo, Switch, which is currently in the other room, Sega Saturn, Dreamcast, Genesis, a table with multiple books on it that is right in my path. Got to do some reshuffling of the landscape here to create a little bit more distance between the coffee table, the consoles, and the couch. That's on the agenda for later this month. But yeah, we've got PS1, 2, 3, 4, 5, PS2 Mini, PlayStation 1 Mini, or PlayStation 1 Classic, excuse me. A couple of spare PS2s that don't work, and a spare PS3 that does work. And before we move on, let's talk about the couch real quick. When I was first designing this room, I had this idea in my mind of, man, it would be cool if we got like some movie theater chairs up here, like, some badass recliners. We all sat up here and chilled and played games, and, had the nice cup holders and everything with the movie theaters type seats. But then it hit me, this couch, this 90s looking couch that has been with us since I was 10 years old. I grew up in kind of a, if you guys ever watched that old show called The Waltons, it was kind of like a Waltons type situation. Big family I grew up in. Mom, grandma, grandpa, uncle, big household. And just, things happen and people just kind of drifted apart. And long story short, my mom and I ended up being, we went from going from a pretty big family situation to just she and I. And it had just been she and I for, ever since that point, since I was 10 years old. And the very first thing that she bought for us when we moved out on our own and we got a little 1-bedroom apartment right outside of Atlanta, Georgia, was this yellow couch. And through all the moves, throughout all the time, this thing has held up. This thing has stayed with us and has endured the test of time. And, suddenly it hit me. I'm like, look at this room that I'm creating. What is all of this? Well, what all this stuff is, on the surface, it's just things. It's really, right? It's just things. If all this burned down tomorrow, it really wouldn't matter because it's just they're inanimate objects. But the significance of them is their memories, right? This room is created to celebrate memories. Good memories of good times. And boy, does this couch embody that. This was the couch that I sat on as a kid and played with those Beetleborg action figures that are in that display case. This couch is where I originally played with a lot of the toys and the Pokemon cards and comic books that are in this room. So, because it is still in good shape, it doesn't smell bad, it's not gross. Honestly, it looks cosmetically as good as it ever did. No holes, no tears, no nothing. I was like, you know what? The couch. For this room, for this situation, there is no better choice of furniture than this big yellow comfy couch. So the couch is staying. Moving on to the Power Rangers side here, we got some X-Men, some of the deluxe figures, along with some of the loose figures that are from childhood. Got the Mighty Morphin in the box, the movie series in the box. Got some of this stuff boxed up. I talked about this in my Power Rangers collection video, but I actually ordered this off of eBay a couple years ago, and the dude ended up sending me the package, sending me this Falcon Zord just like this. I remember I was outside in my garage, my mailman walked up and handed me this package. You can see the tear here where the shipping label was stuck on it. And I was like, what the hell are you doing? Why did this get shipped this way? So I filed a dispute and I wanted a refund because my collectible had been highly damaged because it was not put in a box at all. They used the Falcon Zord box as the box. And the dude said to me that he wasn't going to give me a refund because I ordered the toy, not the box. So what does it matter what kind of shape the box is in? Absolutely amazing. Needless to say, I got my money back and I kept the Falcon Zord. So Goro6269 on eBay, you can suck it. I got your toy and it's got a good home now. And side note really quick here, kind of slowly but surely building up the Goosebumps collection. We found this at a Goodwill about a month or two ago, and this is freaking lunchbox, man. Is absolutely pristine. It still has the original tag on it, the Aladdin tag from when this was sold in retail stores. I've never seen a Goosebumps lunchbox this clean. And you know, you've probably heard, you've heard me say at this point a few times in this video, it's my original from childhood. It's my original from childhood. Well, in case you've had any doubt on if I'm being genuine with you, yeah, this really is a lot of my original stuff since childhood. I actually just recently found this as I was unpacking from a move, and I thought, you know, when we found this lunchbox, I'm like, dude, what two items to better display together? The lunchbox and the actual folder that I used as a kid in middle school. Amazing combination. Super happy to have these two up here on display and gonna add to that Goosebumps collection more over time. So yeah, moving on here, checking out these Power Rangers. Got some of the deluxe figures here loose, some of these Thunder Bikes. Slowly building up those over time. Another Power Rangers lunchbox, not in as good a shape as that one, but that's all right. Street Fighter, Superhuman Samurai, for those of you who may happen to remember that. More Megazords. Got a Zeonizer Morpher. Those are the Happy Meal toys from the Power Rangers movie. Not really a great way to display them that I can think of yet. I'm sure I'll think of something better than that soon, but yeah, they're mint and they're in the packaging, never opened, so that's pretty cool to me. The famous Beetleborgs I was referring to. So the evil space aliens and the Ninja Rangers. Up here we've got loose Mighty Morphin, loose movie, loose some loose turbos, some loose Space Rangers, and the full loose Zeo set. Moving on to this one. It's my Street Fighter cabinet. Some of the loose G.I. Joe's figures. I love these G.I. Joe figures, man. I was never a big fan of actual G.I. Joe, but the Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter G.I. Joe style figures, always had an irrational love for those. Really a big fan of those. Got these Pixel Pals here, and some of the metal figs. Then up here is our Mortal Kombat cabinet. Just recently got these boxed Toy Island figures as a bit of a Christmas present to myself. This Jade is actually signed, which is super cool. And we've got the Reptile with his dragon boat and a sealed reptile right behind him. Got Kano on the other side with his Kombat cycle. And Shang Tsung sealed right behind him. That's the driver for the Dragon Wing toy. So that's the only piece from the Hasbro line that I'm missing is the dragon boat. And yeah, saw that on eBay a few years ago for like 300 bucks. Didn't pull the trigger then. Kind of regretting it now because it's kind of hard to find one for under like, I think 600 or 700 these days. So that kind of sucks. Hopefully I'll get lucky. This is the first ever CD I owned, Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Remember sticking that thing in my mom's CD player, cranking the volume up on my headphones and blowing my eardrums out to 90s techno music for hours at a time to that thing. So I love that CD. And here we come to the rare merchandise that I was alluding to about Triple H not long ago. This hat, I have seen one other of these hats for sale on eBay, and that's it. I haven't searched lately. It's been maybe a couple months since I've looked to see, but I cannot find this hat anywhere else. And I always wanted this hat as a kid. I remember it was in the Shop Zone catalog for Christmas of 2000. And I begged and pleaded my mom to get it for me, but because she is a sane, normal person, she did not think that this was an appropriate gift for an 11-year-old. So I didn't get it then, but I got it now. And I don't know anyone else that has one. So if you guys have seen one of these out there in the wild, or if you've seen one of these online somewhere, let me know, because I would be curious to know if anyone else has seen one of these. The disappointing part is once I actually got my hands on it, I realized that I didn't quite look as cool as I thought I would have when I watched Triple H come out with it back in the day. But hey, you know, expectations and reality and all that good stuff. And right behind it is another rare piece that I just got for Christmas from Kendall, my wife. Yeah, little Triple H stop sign from a product line called, the little tag is torn here, but this is a line called Ring Rage. Play on words, Ring Rage. And we've got more wrestling here, old school 98, circa 98 world title. We got Jim Cornette calling the action between Kevin Nash and the Giant. And they are competing over the World Cruiserweight Championship, which I drew when I was 10. Remember I was telling you earlier about having the Beetleborgs, about pretending that the Beetleborgs were like Saturn and Malenko and those guys. Yeah, I not only used my imagination for that, I also took little pieces of paper and drew my own championships. And somehow, you know, the rest of them are long gone, but somehow this one has managed to make it with me, you know, stowed away in a box somewhere between all the moves and stuff over the years. So therefore, these two 7-foot tall, 300, 400 pound men are fighting for my Cruiserweight Championship, because it's my game room and I can do whatever I want, damn it. And of course, on the other side, also calling the action, is equally angry Jim Cornette with his tennis racket, who is screaming at purple shirt, red necktie Jim Cornette on this side. It's the Battle of the Cornings. Over here, we just got old Solid Snake and Vegeta bringing it up right here on the end, standing guard, Kazuya and Heihachi Mishima from Tekken, another awesome franchise, and of course some Galaga and Black Panther right here. And just to quickly look over the wrestling stuff here, a lot of this is originals from childhood, but we've added on over time, and we will continue to add on this year. Dragon Ball is another one that I want to add on to. This Vegito, man, super cool design, but whoever designed him just didn't do the best job of, you know, creating a model that stood upright, because not only is this big clunky thing on his foot looks like a giant go-go boot or something that was designed to keep him upright, but even with that on, he falls down all the time. So I could have done better with that, but oh well. Overall, a cool looking toy. And down here, I've got my original castle. You guys ever play with these as a kid? It's like the castle with the gray knights and the black knights. And yeah, I actually want to take those things out of the Ziploc baggie sometime this year and make like a little fight scene somewhere in here. I think that would be pretty cool. I had a lot of fun with this as a kid. Missing a piece there, but maybe I can buy the part off of eBay, who knows. And then just moving on here to kind of get ready to wrap it up. So we've got, this is just kind of the spot for miscellaneous stuff that doesn't really have a place at the moment. Our old school Buzz Lightyear, a newer Buzz, some Mega Man, Iron Man, Tommy Pickles, of course. A Walmart branded G.I. Joe type figure there. I believe he's from a series called The Corrs. So yeah, that was, he's been hanging with me for like the last 28 years, so he's not going anywhere. I love my turtles. The only turtles I really care about collecting as far as the small action figures go, I got these up here on the wall. These are the ones that just recently came out a couple years ago. Got them at Walmart. But as far as like old school turtles, the only ones I really care about collecting are the mutating turtles, because those are the ones I grew up with and I just want to get them back. So I've just been, over time, been adding on to the collection, and now all I'm missing is Michelangelo. So whenever I see him in the wild, I'm going to grab him and complete the 4. Then up here, something I'm really excited to keep adding on to over time. Shout out to Second Chance Toys in Marietta, Georgia. If you're ever in the metro Atlanta area, highly recommend you go check out Second Chance Toys. My wife and I go there several times a year, and every time we're in town, we make it a point to buy one pristine condition used Star Wars figure. That's what we do. It's our little tradition every time we go in, and we're just working on building an army of these original old school Star Wars toys. And I'm super happy with how the collection is coming so far. And just to wrap it up with a quick shot of the middle of the room, as you can see, we have a sea of freaking Build-A-Bears, man. This is not normal. I actually had a guy come in just yesterday and install this lighting. And yeah, let me tell you how weird it is to tell an electrician to just go ahead and move your stuffed animal collection so he can get up on the ceiling and install your lighting. And they're like, hey man, that's awesome, Pokemon, I loved that when I was a little kid. How old's your son? And then you're like 35. It's me. Hey, look, if you've watched the video this far, you got some problems going on too, so don't judge me. But yeah, on this side, we've got Goku with a sweet Spirit Bomb lamp and some of the Dragon Ball trading card game here, some sealed boosters, some Mortal Kombat, Power Rangers, Star Wars sealed boosters. A lot of cool trading card stuff here. The red border, The red border Mortal Kombat card game. Those were the first cards I ever collected as a kid. I believe they came out in '93. Super cool cards. You guys should look them up if you haven't ever heard of them before. And of course, a sealed booster box of the Mortal Kombat trading cards. And just really quick to say, I do have some trading cards in here of Dragon Ball, Star Wars, and Mortal Kombat. We'll expound on those another day. But yeah, do have some trading card action going on here other than just this massive pile of Pokemon. Got some comics right here that I didn't mention before. A few long boxes. It's mostly like Mortal Kombat stuff and Street Fighter stuff. A ton of Street Fighter stuff. I loved the Blood and Thunder comics growing up for Mortal Kombat. If you guys have never heard of the Blood and Thunder Malibu Comics Mortal Kombat series, check them out. They're cheesy. They're, you can call them antiquated, dated, but, I enjoy them and they're fun. And I've actually got a lot of Game Pros in here as well. A lot of Game Pros from 95 all the way up to about 2005. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And I told you guys I was a wrestler. That is me right there. And this is a poster from a show that we did last year, actually a year ago today. We're filming this on January 6, 2025. This was exactly a year ago today. So yeah, cool stuff. And another thing, for those of you who watch modern wrestling, if you happen to watch Monday Night Raw on, it was it was September 30th of 2024. Main event was Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed. They did a spot where they just both blew through the barricade onto a bunch of fans. I was one of the fans they collapsed onto, and I've got the front row ticket right here to prove it. So that was good times. Now finally moving on to this cabinet, got the Liu Kang Mortal Kombat 11 collectible statue right behind me. This is actually a figure of myself because Kendall made it for me for a birthday present several years ago, and it's like a perfect copy basically of what my gear looks like. It's my trunks. It says The Exception on the back. That is my gimmick. I'm the exception, Zach Hartnell. She used Wade Barrett as a model. Yeah, she even got my shoulder tattoo, which is just a high level of detail. She used Wade Barrett as a model and gave him a more fair skin tone because I'm like 2 shades darker than Edward Cullen. I don't really tan. So the detail that she went to create this figure and just make it look as true to me as she could was astounding. Wade Barrett was a good choice for a prototype for myself. He's almost as tall, almost as jacked, almost as handsome. Not quite there, but he's close. Then moving down here, we just have our collection of autograph stuff. DDP action figure, Buff Bagwell autographed WCW magazine. This is super cool. This Ready to Rumble VHS tape. I got this autographed by Dallas actually in Atlanta when he did a private showing of Ready to Rumble. And we actually got to sit down with him. We watched the show. We watched the movie together, did like a cool Q&A thing afterwards, and then he signed this VHS tape. So it was super cool to watch this movie with Diamond Dallas Page actually sitting next to me, like not right next to me, but like a few seats away for real, and then have him sign the VHS tape afterward. Like 12-year-old me and adult me were both marking out big time. That was a cool experience. And yeah, then moving on right down here, got some signed Lex Luger stuff, some signed Mick Foley stuff, his Faces of Foley and No Way Out VHS tapes. Got a signed Mr. as the marketing people decided to call him for the sake of Toys R Us, I guess, Mr. B.A. Signed Mr. B.A. action figure there. That's pretty cool, right? And then a signed Chris Casamassa, as I showed you, and a signed Jim Cornette announce desk, which is that is the contents of that box. So love me some Cornette, guys. Well, once again, here we are, right back where we started. That is going to conclude the 2025 Game Room Tour, guys. If you watched this far, I really appreciate you hanging out with me and taking my annual stroll down memory lane. Hopefully you enjoyed what you saw. Maybe you got some ideas to incorporate into a game room of your own. Also, stay tuned for something we're going to be doing every week called Fighting Game Friday. I'm going to be playing old school fighting games for the N64, the PS1, PS2, and so on. Various story modes and things like that. That'll be something we'll be posting on a weekly basis. So yeah, guys, once again, I hope you had a Merry Christmas, a happy holiday season, a happy New Year, all that good stuff. Hope you all stay safe, take care, drive slowly in the road, watch out for animals, collect the things that you love because you love them. And until next time, take care. I'll see you soon.